I'm not here to say that aging is bad. We should be terrified of aging. Do anything you can to avoid it. That's not the message. That's not what hot girls do. I'm here to make recommendations to make sure your skin is as healthy as possible. And that's all that matters. Hello everyone and welcome to Skincare with Hyram. If you don't know who I am, my name's Hyram and I'm passionate about teaching you how to perfect your skincare routine. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you can see my videos every single week. Welcome to the final episode of my Q&A series. If you guys haven't been watching, I've been doing a Q&A series where I answer your most pressing questions about skin concerns. We've covered eczema, oily skin, sensitivity, and now we have finally come to the bad boy. Basically, the most complicated skin concern, aging. Let's talk about it. I would say aging is one of the most common concerns that I see you guys express in comment sections, in my DMs. A lot of y'all are really concerned about aging, and I totally feel you. And in this video, I'm going to be answering a bunch of your guys' questions that you have submitted in my comment sections. And I know it might seem ironic that I'm giving these recommendations because of my perfect, youthful, ageless porcelain skin. I'm totally kidding. Can you see these smile lines? Enough said. This concern is actually near and dear to my heart because it's the entire reason that I first got into skincare. Because when I was 16 years old, I already started developing fine lines and aging on my skin to the point that I had multiple people in my life coming up to me saying, Hyram, I love you, but your skin is aging really quickly. You should start looking into skincare. Because seriously, I look back at pictures of when I was at high school and I see the wrinkles in my forehead and on my under eye area. It was not great. And I was able to get rid of a lot of that damage and have since become very passionate about preventing premature aging because it's something I have to constantly do with my skin. So I'm really excited to answer your guys' questions, give some tips and recommendations that will hopefully be helpful for you. So let's get into it. We'll start with one of the most common questions I get on my channel. I literally saw this one so many times. Ethan asked, can I use retinols if I'm 15 and struggle with wrinkles? So for some reason, there's this bullshit rumor that a lot of people spread, and I have been told myself, where people say that you can't use retinol until you're like 30, 35, 40 years old, which has never made sense to me because first, retinol was developed as a solution to teenage acne, literally for teenagers. But secondly, if you wait to start using retinol until deep set wrinkles have already been formed, it's not going to be able to help you that much. The purpose of retinol is to immediately treat skin damage and resolve it as quickly as possible in order to prevent premature aging and other problems that come. So if you're 15 years old and you're already noticing that you are developing wrinkles, it's a great time to start using retinol. I always say to start using retinol when you start seeing skin damage, and wrinkles are one of the most common and deep set forms of skin damage to treat. So if you are noticing that, it's a great time to start using retinol. And I'd say start with a gentle retinol. If you want a recommendation, the Selfless by Hyram Retinol and Rainbow Algae Serum is one of the most gentle formulas out there, perfect for someone who's brand new to retinol and is a little bit nervous about, dipping their toes into that pool. And of course, make sure you are wearing a sunscreen every single day, because if you already are developing fine lines and wrinkles, it's likely due to sun damage from your childhood and adolescence. And I know there may be more mature viewers that are kind of rolling their eyes saying, oh, what 15-year-old has wrinkles? You don't have anything to worry about. But in my opinion, the earlier you start treating those concerns, the better it will be for your skin and making sure that you're preventing premature aging. Aging is the natural cycle that we all go through. We're all gonna have wrinkles, but premature aging is like what I had, where I had no sun protection throughout all of my childhood. A lot of stress, lack of sleep, and just not caring for my skin resulted in wrinkles at a very young age where I really shouldn't have started to see them. The earlier you start preventing that premature aging, the better it is for the health of your skin. Also stay tuned until the end of the video because I want to talk about some non-skincare tips and tricks that I learned that were very helpful in preventing that premature aging. Gems asked, does sun damage cause fine lines? I don't have many wrinkles, but a lot of fine lines on my forehead and underneath my eyes, and I want to get rid of them ASAP. So yes, I share this statistic all the time on my channel. You probably have it memorized by now if you watch a lot of my videos, but 90% of premature aging is due to sun exposure alone. Too much sun exposure is really not a good thing for the skin, and one of the ways that it will show up is through fine lines and aging, which is why sunscreen is so important. And a lot of people don't want to hear that because you want to use this magic cream elixir that miraculously gets rid of your wrinkles overnight, which doesn't exist, by the way. If you see any products claiming to do that, don't believe it. It may not be as sexy to wear sunscreen, but it really is the most important thing you can do to prevent that premature aging, because the earlier you start, the better your skin is going to look at 40, 50, 60 years old. Kind of related to the other question, Shay asked, any tips for good eye creams to get rid of wrinkles? So I will say I'm not the biggest fan of anti-aging eye creams because usually they're not necessary in a routine and can be overpriced, but I am a big fan of the Inkey List Retinol Eye Cream. It has retinol in it at a gentle percentage, so you can specifically target the under eye area to help with any fine lines or dark circles you might be experiencing. But most of the time I will say that eye creams aren't necessary. You can use a really gentle retinol serum on your under eye area and then cover it up with your favorite rich moisturizer, and that way you're getting the same effect and saving money. Of course, there's the Selfless Retinol Serum, which is super gentle. There's also the Inkey List Retinol Serum as well, if you want a little bit of a stronger formula. But also keep in mind that under eye wrinkles are some of the most difficult wrinkles to get rid of because that area of the face is very expressive. When we smile, laugh, make expressions, we get static lines, which skincare products can help reduce, but aren't necessarily going to get rid of. And I'll give more tips for that at the end of the video, but yeah, just keep that in mind as you're looking for a product that can help. Imran commented, about time you started tretinoin as it's the GOAT for premature aging, but what about Botox? So this comment was on a video where I talked about how I started using tretinoin, and if you aren't familiar with tretinoin, it's a prescription form of retinol that dermatologists or dermatology services can provide. It's really powerful, and I've started using it on my skin, but my skin can only handle about once per week application because it is so strong. And I'd say if you're someone who's approaching your 30s or older, tretinoin is a great option. It's one of the most powerful ingredients for helping with premature aging. But I want to answer his question about Botox because a lot of you guys are curious if it's actually necessary for getting rid of wrinkles. And I think back to my time working with clients where I would have, say, a 60-year-old client asking me what over-the-counter product would get rid of their deep set wrinkles on their face. And here's my take. If you already have deeply imprinted wrinkles into your face, Botox is going to be the best for giving you an instant effect and getting rid of those wrinkles. Skincare products are great, but they're mostly great for preventative measures. If you already have that deep set damage in your face, it's going to be very difficult to see any noticeable result from a skincare product alone. Obviously, if you're 15 years old, you've just started experiencing wrinkles, that's the perfect time to start using over-the-counter products to prevent that long-term damage. But if you're already a little bit later on in life and those wrinkles are pretty deep set, I'm just going to tell you what I would tell all my clients. Botox is going to be the best thing to give you an immediate effect and get rid of those wrinkles. Preventative Botox can also be really beneficial as well. It's a great way of ensuring that those areas of your face won't experience as much movement, which naturally means that the lines are going to be less impacted and deepened. But of course, Botox is very expensive and Botox won't prevent wrinkles from forming on your face because, like I said before, we all age. Wrinkles are natural. But if those are the things you are experiencing and you do have interest in Botox, then feel free to check it out. It's definitely an easy fix. The Hangry Monster asked, I'm old as fuck and I have dry skin. Please talk about what's the best moisturizer for dry aging skin. My go-to recommendation is the Skin Fix Triple Lipid Barrier Peptide Cream. It is such an incredible formula because not only will it work to make sure that your moisture barrier is deeply nourished, your skin is plumped, has a nice dewy look, it also has ingredients to help promote the collagen production in your skin, which helps to make your skin look more tight, bouncy, instead of a looser appearance. I freaking love that moisturizer. Every single time I use it and I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, wow, this is totally worth the $50 it costs. And I know $50 might seem a little bit expensive, but let me tell you, it is the perfect dupe. Not even dupe, it's way better for the $500 La Mer cream that everyone hypes up to be the best moisturizer for aging. The ingredients are so much better, but the formula is so similar. If you have dry aging skin, it is an incredible product and one of your guys' favorite products that I've seen in my comment sections on my videos. You guys love it. I recommend it all the time. It really is like the best of the best moisturizer. Shelly asked, how do I use tretinoin correctly? Does it really help with aging in your 20s? Help. Happy to help. I would say the best way to use tretinoin is to start slowly. I do not recommend starting off using it every day. That's a lot for your skin to handle. And typically when you start tretinoin, your skin will go through a purging session where you'll experience breakouts, maybe some redness and sensitivity as your skin gets accustomed to the really strong formula. And then from there, I recommend using it once, maybe twice a week. That's how much I personally use it to make sure I'm getting the benefit without my skin freaking out. And then of course, follow up with a really good rich moisturizer because tretinoin has a tendency to really dry out your skin. So you want to make sure that your moisture barrier is protected by either going in with a really rich moisturizer or even slugging. Great for helping to make sure that you don't lose water through your skin. And if you want to learn more about slugging, make sure you check out my YouTube video where I reacted to slugging TikToks. I give all my tips and recommendations there. But also if you do have tretinoin, that means you have either a dermatologist or a dermatology provider. So feel free to ask them and get their advice. But my recommendation is always to start slow and be very gentle with your skin. It's a lot for it to handle. And I would say depending on what age you are in your 20s, it might be a little bit early to start with tretinoin, but you know your skin best. And if you are seeing really deep set damage that just isn't being fixed by regular over-the-counter products, that's when tretinoin can really be helpful. Deborah said, hi Hyram, I'm 40 and looking for an anti-aging product kit. I'm currently using your full line of skincare. Thank you so much for supporting. I really appreciate it. I'm especially pleased with your moisturizer and cleanser. Oh, that makes me so happy. However, I feel I might need something extra for my maturing face. Totally makes sense. If you're 40, that's a perfect time to start using something a little bit stronger. I was interested in the Mary Kay line. Oof. Can you please do a review on Mary Kay? Even if they are a little on the pricey point, I don't mind investing a little bit more into my skin. So I'm just going to be honest, a lot of people have asked me for a Mary Kay review, but I have not done one because Mary Kay is actually a multi-level marketing company and I don't support the ethics of a company that operates in that way, regardless of how good the products are, which I don't really think Mary Kay products are that good. I just don't want to give any attention to companies like that. I will say though, Mary Kay formulas are definitely not going to be effective enough for the concerns that you are expressing. At age 40, it's really important that you start using really power-packed formulas to help treat that skin damage you've experienced. And that's definitely where prescription tretinoin is at. It's one of the most powerful ways of treating those wrinkles. And the great thing about it is that yes, you can go to a dermatologist, but you don't have to anymore. There's a lot of great online dermatology providers like Curology or Dermatica, both of which I've used and loved, where they do a skin analysis, ask you questions about your skin and concerns, and then are able to prescribe you tretinoin to help with those concerns. So I definitely recommend using a service like Dermatica. That's what I personally use right now for my tretinoin. And trust, you're going to see a lot more powerful results at a way lower price point than buying Mary Kay products. And then finally, I want to share some non-skincare related tips and tricks I have learned that have really significantly helped my skin in recovering from the premature aging that I've experienced. Now, granted, it is always a work in progress. And yes, I still have fine lines like right here and right here, maybe like a small one on my forehead, but this is significantly better than what I used to have. My main recommendation, which is not very fun to hear and definitely not as sexy as a skincare product, is getting enough sleep. I am definitely not good at this, so please don't look at me as an example. Do what I say, not as I do. But sleep is one of the most significant, if not the most significant way of ensuring that your skin is getting its proper recovery period to operate as best as it can in preventing any type of premature damage, but specifically premature aging. If you aren't getting enough sleep, your body doesn't have enough time or resources to be able to help make sure that your skin is looking good. And from personal experience, whenever I've pulled all-nighters or I'm really limited on sleep, I will notice a significant difference in my skin where I look older. And the older I get, the more noticeable it is. And I am positive that some of the premature aging I've experienced is definitely from not getting enough sleep throughout my 20s. Also, a trick I learned is to better control my facial expressions. I used to be someone that would love making the most crazy, ridiculous of facial expressions all the time. And granted, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I was being so overly expressive and I was noticing that was contributing a lot to the static lines on my forehead and on my under eye area. And I learned how to better control my facial muscles where I still can be expressive without excessively moving my face and contributing to those lines. For example, I can still raise my eyebrows and be expressive without like, you know. For me, it was finding a balance because I definitely did not want to look like one of those LA overly Botoxed people where they just never move their face and they're always like this. Yeah, totally. I'm literally crying right now. Like, that's not the vibe I wanted. But I learned how to better control my face because I realized like a lot of the fine lines I was experiencing were from excessive facial movements that I just didn't really need to be making. Maybe that's a little obsessive. I totally get it if you're judging me, but it definitely helped. Another underrated tip that I recently talked about in my video about like underrated tips and tricks for aging is wearing sunglasses. Growing up, I always thought that sunglasses were for people who just wanted to look bougie and fancy, but it really is not only important for the health of your eyes, but also to reduce the eye squinting because I was constantly squinting my eyes just because the sun was bright and it's created such excessive strain on my eyes that I'm pretty sure that's what my crow's feet or whatever you call them are from. And now I wear sunglasses literally all the time. It really helps specifically for those under eye wrinkles. But the final thing in this video that I want to talk about is I will say I was a little bit concerned at the amount of comments I was getting from like 16-year-olds with an intense fear around aging. And I've seen this kind of obsessive fear on TikTok specifically where young teenagers are so terrified of aging, getting wrinkles, like it's like their worst fear. And I should say, it's not just teenagers, it's from so many different ages, but I worry about our beauty standards and how much this fear is kind of taking control of people because from the way you see it on TikTok, like people are genuinely more scared of aging than they are of like making bad decisions. And I think that's a little bit concerning because the reality is that everyone is going to age. Aging is a beautiful process. It's the natural cycle our skin is going through. And while I think it's important to talk about preventing premature aging, skin damage, making sure the health of our skin is at its very best, I don't think it's healthy or productive to have this very intense fear of aging to the point of using ridiculous face tools, extremely invasive treatments that put your skin or body's health at risk, or talking about aging aging who may make people who have more mature skin feel like they aren't beautiful. I just don't like that. I have never supported that, and I want to be very clear on my channel that that is not what I'm saying or promoting. For me, it's all about promoting skin health, and it's also up to the individual. If you want to fill your face with Botox, go for it, girl. More power to you. But I don't think it's good to be commenting on aging or ostracizing anyone who might be experiencing aging in their skin and making that something to be afraid of. Like, I know for me personally, I definitely don't want to experience premature aging, and I want to make sure that I have as little of stress lines on my face. But I personally like my smile lines, like my crow's feet right here. I kind of like, because for me, it's a physical manifestation of all the moments that I've smiled and laughed, all the positive memories. Like, it's something that I kind of like. So I just want to make that clarification, because I am not here to say that aging is bad. We should be terrified of aging. Do anything you can to avoid it. That's not the message. That's not what hot girls do. I'm here to make recommendations to make sure your skin is as healthy as possible. And that's all that matters. Do you guys have any more questions or any tips for premature aging that you recommend? I would love to hear them in the comment section down below. This is probably going to be the last video of my Q&A series, but let me know if you guys have any other skin concerns that you want me to talk about, because I would love to. Like I said before, all the products that I've talked about in today's video will be linked in the description box below. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel and to the notification bell so that you can see my videos every single week. And I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah.